The confession. The soddy felt smaller with so many bodies crowded inside. Sarah stood near the window, watching the darkness beyond the glass while her mind replayed every word she would say, every gesture she would make when Edmund Whitmore arrived. Behind her, Henry Blackburn checked his revolver for the third time, the mechanical click of the cylinder rotating, punctuating the tense silence. "He'll be cautious," Blackburn said quietly. "Men like Whitmore don't survive by being careless." Eleanor moved between the table and the stove, her hands busy with tasks that didn't need doing, straightening the cloth, adjusting the lamp wick, touching the coffee pot to check its warmth. Sarah recognized the pattern. Her mother couldn't sit still when fear pressed close. "Sarah knows what to do," Eleanor said, her voice carrying more confidence than her movement suggested. "She's thought it through." Sarah turned from the window. "I'll meet him outside, away from the house. Make it seem like I don't want anyone to overhear." She touched the shawl draped over her shoulders. Frightened girl seeking advice from the only lawyer she thinks she can trust. "And if he doesn't come alone?" Daniel asked from his position near the door. His hand rested on the rifle propped against the wall. "Then we adapt," Sarah said simply. "But he will. A lawyer meeting secretly with a young woman? He won't want witnesses to that conversation either." Blackburn nodded slowly. "The consortium taught him to work in shadows. He'll assume you're doing the same, hiding your consultation from your family because you're planning something they wouldn't approve." "Betrayal," Sarah said, meeting Blackburn's eyes. "He'll think I'm ready to betray my family to save myself. That I've realized we can't win against the consortium and I want to make my own deal." The words tasted bitter, even knowing they were false. But she'd seen how desperation changed people. How Robert Kane had sold information for $1,000, how Whitmore himself had accepted $20,000 to destroy families. The consortium understood greed and fear. They expected it. She would give them what they expected to see. "He's coming," Daniel said sharply. Sarah moved to the window. A single rider approached through the moonlight, moving slowly, carefully. The horse picked its way along the trail as if the rider was giving himself time to watch for threats. "Just him," she confirmed. Her heart hammered against her ribs, but her hands remained steady as she wrapped the shawl tighter. "Everyone stay inside until I signal. He needs to believe I'm alone and frightened." Eleanor caught her arm as she moved toward the door. "If anything feels wrong, I'll run," Sarah promised. "But it won't come to that. He thinks he's the predator tonight." She stepped into the cool prairie darkness, pulling the door closed behind her. The wind carried the scent of earth and grass, and somewhere in the distance a coyote called. She walked 20 yards from the soddy, far enough that voices wouldn't carry clearly to anyone inside, close enough that help could reach her in seconds. Whitmore dismounted near the corral, tying his horse with deliberate care. He wore a dark suit despite the hour, maintaining the appearance of professional respectability even for a midnight meeting. When he turned toward her, his face was carefully neutral. "Miss Mackenzie?" He moved closer, but stopped a respectful distance away. "Your note said you needed legal counsel. Urgently." Sarah let her shoulders curve inward, making herself smaller. "I didn't know who else to ask." She pitched her voice higher, younger. "Everything's falling apart, Mr. Whitmore. The consortium, the court orders, the attacks. My father nearly died, my brother is terrified, and I keep thinking." She broke off, wrapping her arms around herself. "What if we can't win? What if we're just prolonging the inevitable?" Whitmore's expression softened with something that might have been genuine sympathy or carefully practiced manipulation. "These are difficult circumstances," he said carefully. "Your family has shown remarkable courage." "Courage doesn't stop bullets." Sarah turned away from him, staring toward the dark horizon. "It doesn't prevent assassinations or legal maneuvers we don't understand. We're homesteaders, Mr. Whitmore. We know how to work land, not fight conspiracies." "What are you proposing?" His voice remained neutral, but she heard the shift, the subtle sharpening of interest. Sarah took a breath that was only partly feigned. This was the moment. "I want to know what it would take to make a separate arrangement. For myself." She glanced back at him. "My parents are determined to fight. My father especially. He'd rather die than surrender the claim. But I'm 19 years old, Mr. Whitmore. I don't want to die for land I never asked to homestead. The silence stretched between them. Whitmore studied her face in the moonlight, and Sarah forced herself to meet his eyes with desperate honesty. Let him see a frightened girl. Let him believe she'd reached the breaking point. That would be complicated, he said finally. Your family holds the claim jointly. But if something happened to them, Sarah let the words trail off, horrified at herself, exactly as a girl contemplating betrayal should be. I mean, if the consortium succeeded in whatever they're planning, and I was the only survivor, would they honor a prior arrangement? Would they let me live if I agreed not to contest their claim? Whitmore moved closer. Miss Mackenzie, what exactly are you asking me to arrange? Protection. The word came out raw. I'll testify that the mine was actually on Crown land, that our survey was mistaken. I'll sign whatever documents they need. I'll disappear to Calgary or Vancouver and never speak of any of this again. In exchange, they leave me alive and give me enough money to start over somewhere else. She watched his face carefully. The internal calculation was almost visible, weighing her offer against his instructions from the consortium, considering whether she was genuine or attempting some clumsy trap. That's quite a proposal, he said slowly. But I'm not sure I'm the appropriate person. You're their lawyer. Sarah stepped closer, letting desperation show clearly now. Everyone knows it, even if you pretend otherwise. You filed the court orders. You're staying at the same hotel as Martin Hartwell. I'm not stupid, Mr. Whitmore. I'm just trying to survive. His expression hardened slightly. These are serious accusations. This is a serious offer. Sarah held his gaze. I have information the consortium wants. Details about Henry Blackburn's investigation. Documents my father brought back from Fort Walsh about Cornelius Blackwood's confession. Names of families who've agreed to testify about harassment and threats. I can deliver all of it in exchange for my life and enough money to disappear. Whitmore was silent for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice had changed, the professional veneer dropping away to reveal calculation beneath. How much money? $10,000, and a guarantee that no one follows me. That's a substantial sum. It's less than what they paid you. Sarah let the accusation hang between them. I know they gave you $20,000, Mr. Whitmore. Robert Kane told us before he died. So don't pretend $10,000 is unreasonable for information that could save the consortium months of legal battles and potential criminal charges. She'd gambled with that, revealed that they knew about his payment, hoping it would convince him she was genuine rather than alert him to danger. His face went pale in the moonlight. Kane talked? The words came out sharp. What exactly did he tell you? Everything. Sarah moved closer, pressing her advantage. The offers the consortium made, the names of families they've murdered in other territories, the pattern of legal warfare followed by violence, Henry Blackburn's investigation into their operations. Kane was dying, Mr. Whitmore. He wanted to confess before he met his maker. Whitmore's hand moved toward his jacket, and Sarah's body tensed, ready to run. But he only pulled out a handkerchief, wiping his forehead despite the cool night air. If you know all this, he said carefully, why come to me? Why not go to the authorities? Because authorities take time. Sarah let her voice break slightly. Time we don't have. The consortium is planning something. I can feel it. Something big and violent that will end this quickly. And when it comes, I don't want to be standing beside my father's stubborn pride. I want to be far away with enough money to build a new life. She watched him process this, saw the moment he decided to believe her. Or perhaps he simply wanted to believe, wanted to think that even the fierce Mackenzie daughter could be broken by sufficient fear. I would need to consult with my clients, he said slowly. This isn't a decision I can make alone. Then consult quickly. Sarah wrapped the shawl tighter, because if the consortium moves before we have an agreement, the offer disappears. I'll have no choice but to fight alongside my family, and all that information dies with us. Where are these documents? The ones from Fort Walsh? Safe. Sarah smiled slightly. Did you think I'd tell you before we had a deal? I'm desperate, Mr. Whitmore, not stupid. The documents are my insurance. You get them when I get my money and safe passage. Whitmore nodded slowly, still calculating. I'll need to meet with Hartwell tonight. Can you return here tomorrow evening? Same time? I'll be here. Sarah turned as if to go, then paused. Mr. Whitmore, when you talk to the consortium, tell them I'm serious. Tell them I'm tired of being brave. Tell them I just want to survive. I will. He moved toward his horse, then stopped. Miss Mackenzie, this information about families in other territories. Do you have names? Specific details? Sarah had expected this question. Enough details to hang everyone involved if it reaches the right authorities. 3 families in Montana, 2 in Wyoming, 1 in Colorado. Dates, locations, methods. Blackburn has been very thorough. She watched his face pale further. I see. Tomorrow night, Sarah said firmly, bring me an offer I can accept, or I take everything to the mounted police and pray we survive long enough for justice to matter. Whitmore mounted his horse without another word. Sarah watched him ride away, maintaining her posture of desperate determination until he disappeared into the darkness. Only then did she allow herself to breathe fully. The soddy door opened behind her. Daniel emerged first, rifle ready, scanning the darkness for threats. Then Blackburn, moving with the careful economy of a man who'd spent years hunting dangerous prey. He believed you, Blackburn said quietly. I could see it from the window. Sarah nodded, suddenly exhausted. The performance had taken more from her than she'd expected. He wanted to believe. Men like him always do. They assume everyone else is as corrupt as they are. Eleanor appeared in the doorway, her face tight with controlled fear. Did he threaten you? No. Sarah walked back toward the house. He was too busy calculating profit and risk. I'm a potential asset now, not a threat. Someone who can deliver what they want without the mess of violence. And tomorrow? Daniel asked, falling into step beside her. Tomorrow he'll come back with an offer. Sarah glanced at Blackburn. What will they propose? Less money than you asked for, Blackburn said immediately. They'll try to bargain you down. It's instinct for them. Maybe 5,000 instead of 10, and they'll want proof you have the documents before they pay anything. Then we'll need to create proof. Sarah's mind was already working through the logistics. Documents that look authentic enough to satisfy them temporarily. I can help with that, Blackburn said. I've seen enough of their paperwork to forge convincing copies. The question is, what happens after they accept your offer? Sarah stopped at the soddy door, looking back at the darkness where Whitmore had disappeared. Then we spring the real trap, because once they believe I'm betraying my family, they'll reveal themselves completely. They'll tell me their plans, thinking I need to know when to disappear, and we'll have everything we need to destroy them. Inside the soddy, Eleanor put coffee on to boil while the others settled around the table. The tension that had filled the space before Whitmore's arrival had transformed into something different. Not relief exactly, but a sense of momentum. They'd taken the first step. He'll tell Hartwell everything tonight, Blackburn said, accepting a cup from Eleanor. By morning, the consortium will be debating whether to trust you or kill you. Daniel's hand found hers under the table, his fingers warm and steady. You were magnificent, he said softly. Terrifying, but magnificent. Sarah squeezed his hand, drawing strength from the contact. I just told them what they wanted to hear, that we're breakable, that fear is stronger than loyalty. She looked around the table at the faces of people who'd become her family through shared danger. They're wrong about that. That's going to be their fatal mistake. Eleanor set her own cup down with deliberate care. What if they don't make an offer tomorrow? What if they decide you're too dangerous to trust? Then they'll try to kill me, Sarah said simply. And we'll be ready for that too. Either way, we've forced them to act. No more waiting for their next move. We're controlling the timing now. Blackburn nodded slowly. That's good strategy. The consortium's used to hunting. They're not used to being hunted. The wind picked up outside, rattling the windows and carrying the smell of approaching rain. Sarah thought about her father riding through the darkness toward Medicine Hat, about Thomas sleeping safely at the Reed homestead, about all the pieces moving across the prairie like a chess game where lives hung in the balance. We should rest, Eleanor said finally. Tomorrow will be long and we'll need our strength. But Sarah knew none of them would sleep much. They'd lie awake listening to every sound, wondering if the consortium had seen through her performance, if Hartwell was already planning their deaths, if tomorrow would bring negotiation or violence. She moved to the window one last time before seeking her bed, staring out at the vast darkness of the prairie. Somewhere out there, Whitmore was riding to Medicine Hat with her words echoing in his mind. Somewhere, the consortium was gathering to discuss whether a desperate girl's offer of betrayal was genuine or trap. And somewhere, her father was racing home with help that might arrive too late. Sarah pressed her hand against the cool glass, feeling the weight of what she'd set in motion. Tomorrow she would meet Whitmore again, would push deeper into the deception, would risk everything on the chance that the consortium's greed was stronger than their caution. But tonight, she allowed herself one moment of doubt, one breath of fear for what might come. Then she turned from the window and began preparing for the next act in the deadly performance that would determine whether her family survived or joined the nameless graves the consortium had left across the territories. The trap was set. Now they would see what walked into it.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.